The morning sun peeked through the skyline of Atlanta, casting golden light across the highway. In the back seat of a silver SUV, 18-year-old Layla Rivera adjusted the laces of her running shoes, her fingers trembling with excitement. Today wasn't just another day. It was the state qualifiers, the race that could decide her scholarship, her future, maybe her life. Her dad, Carlos, glanced at her through the rearview mirror and smiled. "You ready, champ?" Layla grinned. "Born ready." Her mom, Elena, turned from the passenger seat, her eyes filled with pride and nerves. "Just remember to breathe. It's your race, baby. No one else's." Layla looked out the window at the fields rolling past, daydreaming of the finish line. She imagined crossing it, arms raised, tears falling, crowd cheering. Her life had always been built around running, track meets, training, early mornings, sore legs, and she loved it. It made her feel invincible, alive, free. As they exited the highway, a truck in the opposite lane swerved violently, a tire blowout. It all happened too fast. The screech of brakes, her mother's scream, a flash of sky, then road, then sky again. Impact. Silence. Darkness. A piercing beep echoed through the hospital room. Layla opened her eyes to a blur of white lights and the sterile scent of antiseptic. Her head pounded. Her body felt like stone, heavy, numb. She tried to move her legs. Nothing. Panic surged. She looked down. Both legs were wrapped in casts, metal rods, gauze, bandages, tubes. Her heart started racing. No, no, no. The door creaked open. Eleanor rushed in, eyes swollen from crying, but lighting up the moment she saw her daughter awake. "Layla," she whispered, rushing to her side. "You're okay. You're here." Carlos entered behind her, his arm in a sling, a stitched-up gash over his brow. He looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight. "What happened?" Layla's voice cracked. There was silence, the kind that makes your skin crawl. Her mother took a breath. "Sweetheart, there was an accident. A truck. The doctors. They say you have multiple fractures. Both legs. Spine trauma." Layla stared at the ceiling, her breath shallow. "Will I run again?" she asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Carlos couldn't meet her eyes. Elena's lips quivered. "The doctors don't know." The weight of those words was heavier than the casts on her legs. For the first time in her life, Layla felt powerless. But somewhere in that silence, a quiet voice inside her whispered, "You're still breathing. That means you're still in the fight." Rehabilitation wasn't just a place. It was a war zone. Every morning, Layla was wheeled into a room with linoleum floors, mint green walls, and the distant scent of bleach and rubber mats. Machines buzzed. Nurses moved like ghosts. And in the corner, a whiteboard read in red marker, "Progress equal pain plus patience." She hated it. Each session felt like being dragged across broken glass, lifting her legs with straps, relearning how to sit up, feeling like a child trapped in an adult's body. Sometimes she screamed, Sometimes she cried. Most days, she just stared at the wall and said nothing. Carlos sat with her through every session, holding her water bottle, sometimes holding her hand. Elena read articles about spinal regeneration, alternative therapy, nutrition. She was fighting too, just in a different way. But Layla was drifting. She started avoiding eye contact, stopped responding. When the physical therapist, Kendra, asked her to try standing with the harness, she refused. "I'm done," she muttered one day, eyes cold. "No, you're scared," Kendra replied softly. "There's a difference." Layla stared at the ceiling, biting the inside of her cheek. Rage, shame, and hopelessness were tangled up in her chest like vines. That night, alone in her hospital bed, she scrolled through old photos on her phone. Finish lines, medals, the old Layla, glowing, flying. She locked the screen and turned it face down. "That girl's gone," she whispered. But the universe had other plans. It started with a voice, not loud, not dramatic, just a whisper. Late one night, while the rest of the rehab center slept and the monitors blinked softly in the dark, Layla heard it. A girl's voice, faint, from the hallway. And she still got up. Layla turned her head. Her door was slightly ajar. Outside, a nurse was chatting with a new patient. A little girl, maybe 10, in a wheelchair with a pink helmet strapped to the back. "She used to run, you know," the nurse said. "Track star, Layla Rivera." The little girl's eyes widened. "For real?" "Yep. And one day, she will again." Layla stared at the ceiling, her throat tight. She hadn't heard her name said like that in weeks, like it still meant something. The next morning, something shifted. Small, but real. When Kendra came in with the parallel bars, Layla didn't say no. She didn't say yes either. She just nodded. The first time she stood, even with the harness holding half her weight, her legs trembled so hard she thought they'd shatter again. But she stood. Carlos fist-pumped from the side. Elena cried quietly, hand to her heart. Layla didn't smile. But when she sat back down, breathless and shaking, she whispered to herself, "That girl's not gone. She's buried, and I'm digging her out." The comeback had begun. The next 6 months were war. Layla traded racetracks for therapy rooms, finish lines for treadmills strapped with support belts. At first, her steps were shaky, robotic, but each one meant something. Each one screamed, "Still here." Carlos would wheel her out to the track behind the rehab center every Sunday. Not to run, just to breathe, just to remember. "It's still yours," he'd say, pointing at the lanes. "You just gotta take it back." Some days, she believed him. Most days, she didn't. But Layla showed up anyway. She relearned how to balance, how to fall, and how to get up faster. Kendra pushed her harder now. "No more sympathy reps," she said. "You're not a patient anymore. You're an athlete in recovery." Layla's face would drip sweat. Her palms would bleed from parallel bars. But she said nothing, because pain had become her language. And each rep, each stretch, each bruise was her vocabulary of fight. At home, Eleanor taped affirmations to the mirror. You don't need to be ready, just willing. Power isn't strength, it's refusing to stay down. At night, Layla would stare at them, jaw clenched. Then came the turning point. She walked unassisted across the rehab floor. 10 feet. No walker, no harness. Just her legs. Wobbly, slow, but hers. The room froze, then exploded in cheers. But Layla, she just whispered, 10 feet today, 10 kilometers, someday. 1 year later, the sky over Centennial Stadium in Atlanta was alive with cheers, banners, and adrenaline. The state qualifiers had returned, the same event Layla missed the day her world shattered. But today, she was here, not as a spectator, as a runner. Lane 6. Layla stood at the starting line, braces hidden under her leggings, hair braided tight, her number pinned to her chest. In the stands, Carlos waved a homemade sign. Run like you never fell. Elena held her phone, already crying. The starter raised the gun. Bang! Layla ran. It wasn't perfect. Her stride had changed, a little shorter, a little stiffer. But her focus was brutal. Every breath measured, every muscle screaming, every step a rebellion against every voice that said, she'll never run again. With 50 meters to go, the girl in lane 4 surged ahead. Layla almost stumbled. Her legs burned. But then, she remembered. Hospital lights. Kendra's voice. That little girl in the hallway. Her own whisper. Dig her out. And she did. She pushed. One last burst. One last fire. She crossed the finish line. Not first, but standing, running, alive. The crowd roared. Cameras flashed. A moment no one, especially her, would ever forget. Reporters came. One asked, "How did you do it, Layla?" She smiled. That full, powerful smile that only comes from earning back your life. "I didn't win today," she said. "I reclaimed who I am. This was never about medals. It was about never giving up." As the stadium echoed her name, Layla looked up at the sky and whispered, "Told you I'd finish, old."